everyone. I am back again today with a new chapter, which is a poem named Aunt Jennifer's Tigers by Adrienne Rich. Okay, this poem is one of the important poems that was going to come in your exam for class 12 CBSE board. And so I thought, let me just run through some of the important topics, that is the summary, the themes, poetic devices, and also the contextual analysis of the poem, so that you are able to handle any kind of short questions, MCQs, or value-based questions that you might be writing for your exams. So let us get right away to the poem. So this is about Aunt Jennifer's Tigers by Adrienne Rich, and we are going to discuss these topics here. Okay, summary, themes, poetic devices, contextual analysis. So let's move on. First, let me tell you what this poem is about. So Adrienne Rich lived at a time which is around. She wrote this poem at a time which is around 70 years from now. At that point of time, women did not enjoy a lot of power and freedom, and they were subjugated by the men of the society, and they had to live a very difficult life. Although women had their own aspirations and desires and everything, they were mentally very strong, yet because of the societal pressures around them, because of the prevalent patriarchy, they had to abide by the rules of the society, which had become very difficult for the women of the society to accept, yet they had to surrender. Now, this poem is about Aunt Jennifer, who is basically embroidering some tigers. Tigers are wild animals, dangerous and very strong animals that live in the forest, and they are fearless and free animals. They love freedom. So once I explain a few things about the themes of the poem, you can go through the poem all by yourself. I'm not getting into that, but you will understand why I am saying all these things, why I am discussing these important topics, so that it will help you to prepare for your exams, upcoming exams. So let us move on. Aunt Jennifer is supposedly aunt of the poetess Adrienne Rich, and she's painting, as if she's painting a picture of her aunt, embroidering on a piece of cloth, which she mentioned as a screen, which is why it's a screen, because it's fixed in a ring. You must have seen people embroidering. While embroidering, you need a ring, and you fit a cloth inside the ring so that it is stretched, and then you embroider on it. So while Aunt Jennifer was embroidering these beautiful creatures, these strong and fearless creatures on her embroidery cloth, she's depicting that picture. And there are various contrasts and comparisons between Aunt and the tigers that she's embroidering, bringing out the existing societal system, the way the women lived in that society, and how they aspired to be free like the tigers, but they could not. And like the tigers, again, while the tigers are free and fearless animals, but they are also subjugated by men. They are put in a cage, they are put in zoos, they are mastered by the ringmen and of the zoo masters. So even they go through a lot of hardship, a lot of difficulty in living a free life. They are also not allowed to lead a free life. So that comparison with the tiger is there. While reading the poem, keep that in mind. There is also a contrast between Aunt Jennifer and the tigers that she's embroidering, because Aunt Jennifer, at that point of time, though she has got a lot of aspirations, and she wishes to be free and enjoy the freedom, yet she's not as strong as the tigers. The tigers are depicted as strong and fearless creatures. So, but she lacks that strength. She lacks the power of the tiger. So that also, there is a contrast between the two. Her hands, her fingers flutter. She's supposedly depicted as someone very weak, and bonded by her husband, by the weight of a marriage. She's very much in a state where she's unable to come out of it, but she's trying to express her inner strength, her aspirations to be free through her embroideries, where she's painting someone who is very, very similar to her. Those tigers, they are also, they wish to be free. They are essentially free animals, and they are wild animals. They are strong animals, which the women of the society are also. They were also. Right now they are. In fact, a few years back, when this poem was written, even then they were strong. There were many strong women, but they were subjugated. Like the tigers, they are also kept inside cages. The women also led a life where they felt like they were in prison. So keep all these things in mind and try to understand what could be the theme and what kind of poetic devices the poet has used to beautifully express this concept, and use them to answer your value-added questions, which we are going to discuss in the later section. So let's move on. Now, as I said, the summary of the poem would be basically Aunt Jennifer's tigers. Whatever she's painting, the tigers whatever she's embroidering on her cloth, those tigers symbolize something. What is that they symbolize? They symbolize her suppressed desires, and what the way she wants to be free, just like them. So that concept is being symbolized by the tigers. This is one concept. The tigers also symbolize the way she is prisoned, the way women were subjugated in the society. Even the tigers were kept in captive. So keep all those things in mind. So symbolizing, if you're asked what the tigers symbolize, you could answer any of these. You could also answer any one. If there's an MCQ, you can choose one. So keep that in mind. Now the content of the poem says that Aunt Jennifer embroiders tigers that are bold and fearless, unlike her timid life. This is what I just discussed, that she led a very timid life. She was unable to come out of the subjugation of her husband. However, she had the aspirations. She yearned to be free. But the tigers are bold and fearless. They are not. They are at the tigers which she is depicting in her embroidery. They are not captive animals. They are free. The poem reflects her struggles within a patriarchal marriage. Patriarchal marriage means patriarchy means where the men of the house, the men of the society rule the world. So that is patriarchy. So the Aunt Jennifer struggled to live under this patriarchal society. Her marriage was not at all a happy one, because it is very clear that she was dominated by her husband. Towards the end, you'll see that even after her death, her work, that is the tigers that she embroidered, they will remain strong and independent. They are going to live forever. However, Aunt Jennifer would die. So even when Aunt Jennifer dies, her art, even when the artist dies, the artwork remains. It remains for posterity, remains forever. And we will see here that how she has left a legacy behind her, a legacy of her struggle, a legacy of her aspirations, a legacy of her yearning, and also a legacy of the artwork where she tries to express herself to, escape from the harsh reality of her life. Okay, so let's move on. Now, there are three important themes in this poem. You can see oppression and patriarchy is a theme which is very clearly seen by Aunt Jennifer's life, which is dominated by a male authority, that is her husband, and symbolized by the massive weight of Uncle's wedding band. So the domination of Uncle was so very powerful that even the ring which she wore in the name of her husband, so that was also very heavy. That's set on her hand, and she finds it very heavy to move her fingers to embroider, because her mind is all burdened with the thoughts of her struggles, with the thoughts of Uncle's domination. So oppression and patriarchy is there, and this is also visible. This is also visible in the depiction of the tigers, where we can find that tigers are kept in captive in the zoos, and then in circus. They are kept in captive. They are dominated by ringmasters. They are made to do exactly what the ringmaster wanted to do. So there's this comparison between Aunt Jennifer and Tiger, and which is related to oppression and patriarchy. And then there is the theme of freedom and strength. So freedom and strength, where do we find this theme? We find it in the tigers. The tigers represent the spirit of independence and courage. Aunt Jennifer, and the courage which Aunt Jennifer lacks in her life. Aunt Jennifer doesn't have the courage to, bounce back and take action. But internally, she is also strong. She yearns to be free, just like the tigers. Tigers are therefore she's embroidering. She's not embroidering captive tigers. She's embroidering tigers who are set free in the forest. They are not at all afraid by the men under the tree. They are very, very fearless. That is what she yearns to be, just like the tigers. Then there is this theme of art as an escape, where Aunt Jennifer is creating this art. We can understand that she's creating this art because she has no escape from her present situation. She's found an escape in her art, where she can express herself, where she can find, she knows that she can create something that is bold, that is strong, just like the tigers that she's embroidering, which is going to live forever. She can leave a mark of her own life, of her existence. At present, the time when she lives, that has put him in a prison where she's unable to express herself, where she's unable to leave a mark of her existence. So her embroidery allows her to express herself and create a world where she has power and control. She has power and control in her artwork. She whatever way she wants, she can represent the tigers. She can make them prance. She can make them pace around. So that is what she's trying to portray. So she has power and control of her own artwork, and she knows that this is going to stay forever. This is going to leave a mark of her existence. So all these three are very important themes of the poem. Now let's go to the poetic devices. There are various kinds of poetic devices. Now let's see. Symbolism is there, where symbolism is found in the tigers, who represent freedom and strength. The wedding band of Aunt, which is the burden of a marriage. I just a few minutes back I told you that the burden of a marriage is so strong that it is symbolized by the ring that she's wearing, and how difficult it has become to keep that ring in her hand and walk around because it feels heavy. Heaviness is due to the state of her mind, due to the oppression, due to her oppressive life, which she's unable to bear. Then we have imagery. There are beautiful imageries, visual description of the tigers, where the tigers are prancing, the bright topaz, denizens means the citizens, the inhabitants, bright topaz. The tigers are basically bright topaz are the tigers. This is a metaphor. So also bright topaz, denizens of a world of green. World of green means she's talking about the forest where she's representing the tigers as topaz is a very precious stone. So she wants to depict the tigers as something very, very precious, who are very strong and fearless, and topaz is generally in yellow color. It depicts the beauty of the tigers. That is how the imagery is created by the description of the tigers. We also find alliterations. You'll find fingers fluttering, SS sound is coming. Then we have a very strong irony here. See, Aunt Jennifer's timid and powerless life vis-a-vis the tiger's boldness, their strength, their power. So this is an irony. She is not free. She is yearning to be free. She is powerless. Yet she is creating an art which depicts strength, power, freedom. So that is the irony. How is it possible? A question comes in our mind. How is that possible? Someone who has never been free, someone who is powerless. Why is she depicting depicting a creature which is so very strong? So that irony, underlying irony, is there in the poem. Then we have personification. Personification in prancing and chivalric tigers, where the tiger is given human qualities. The tiger prances. The tiger is chivalric. They are very chivalric means men who are courteous. Knights were known to be very chivalric because they were very, very powerful and they were not at all afraid of anything. So the tigers are given these human qualities. Therefore, the personification. Then we have a number of metaphors. You can see the stripes on the tiger's skin are compared to topaz. So instead of directly saying they are tigers moving in a world of green, they are compared to topaz, and topaz is directly spoken instead of the tiger. So that is a metaphor. The weight of Aunt Jennifer's wedding ring is again depicting the hardships of a marriage, the kind of life, the burden of a marriage. So the ring is directly being referred to her burdened state. So these are all the poetic devices which you can find in the poem. I'm going a bit quickly because I know that you are in a hurry. You will be, this is at the last moment, and you would be preparing. You would be taking a few minutes to revise on the different poems and chapters. So just for your benefit, I'm just going quickly so that you can just keep on taking in whatever is important and move on to the next. Now let's understand the tone of the poem. You see that the tone of the poem shifts from the admiration of the tiger to the sorrow and pitiful life of Aunt Jennifer. Initially, the beginning of the poem is all about admiration of the tiger. Aunt Jennifer doesn't come in the forefront. We know we can see that it is all about the tigers. That means it's all about the artwork. Towards the end, we can find the sorrowful and the pitiful state of Aunt Jennifer, where she's finding it difficult to embroider these tigers, where she's burdened by her marriage. So the tone shifts from the artwork to the artist. So that is something which you have to keep in mind. Then let us go into the contextual references. Now, what is contextual reference? Contextual reference means understanding the meaning of a word based on the surrounding situation or the circumstances. Where at the time when the poem was written, what was the situation? What was the kind of society that the poet is trying to represent? So that is the context, and from there we try to interpret the meaning of the word. So there are various contextual references, like feminism is there, marriage as a constraint is there, and legacy through art. All these things were there in reference to the context of the poem, in reference to when the poem was written. So this poem was written during the second wave of feminism. So that means feminism had already come into existence. What is feminism? Feminism means equal rights for men and women. It doesn't mean all about women. It doesn't mean that you have to go against men, but it is about the equality. So that concept had already come into existence at a time when this poem was written. And it highlights the struggles of women in patriarchal societies. It is all about Aunt Jennifer. We just discussed how she struggled to live and how she wanted to escape. So that concept of feminism was there because she, in her mind, she was yearning to be free just like the men. She wanted equal rights. So that concept, so feminism, we can understand that this particular topic, this particular concept was already existing at that point of time, though not in a very bold way, the way it is now, but people had started thinking about it. Some of them had started taking actions about it. Marriage as constraint. We can see that the wedding band, which is representing the societal expectations that were imposed upon the women. So once a woman is married, we can understand that marriage was a constraint in the society where Aunt Jennifer lived, or where Adrienne Rich lived, and because she's depicting that society only. So marriage was a constraint in that society. As soon as you're married, you are supposed to be bound by rules. You become bonded by someone else, by the men of the society, that is your husband. So and it brought in a lot of restrictions in the lives of the women. So that is also very, very prominent here. There is another reference of legacy through art. So what is this? Aunt Jennifer's embroidery survives as a testament of her hidden strength. Means when you go to the end of the poem, you'll see that the tigers will live. Aunt Jennifer will be dead. Even when she's dead and lying, the tigers which she embroidered are going to live forever, which represents the legacy that she's leaving behind her, the legacy of her thoughts, of her free thoughts, that she wanted to be free. This was a way of revolting against her, against oppression, against her subjugated life, that she wanted to embroider. She expressed herself through her artwork, and she's going to leave that as a legacy for the next generation to get inspired. So these are the contextual references. Try to understand them from these points of from the topic point of view, because you might get questions in various formats. Now let us understand go through some critical questions. You can see that what do the tigers symbolize? We can see that the tiger symbolizes courage, freedom, and fearlessness, which Aunt Jennifer aspires to have. So this is one symbolism. If it is a one marker, this is sufficient. But if you're given 2 marks, if it's a 2-marker question, then you have to give 2 points. So you can talk about this, and you can also talk about tigers. The tigers also symbolize the captive life of Aunt Jennifer. Like Aunt Jennifer is is oppressed. She's leading a life which is not in her own terms. She has to abide by the rules set by her husband. Tigers captive tigers are also expected to be ruled and dominated by the ringmasters of the of the zoo, or the ringmasters of the circus. So that point is also there, but you are going to write about it only if you're asked to write. If you're given 2 marks, then you can put in that point also. What does the wedding band signify? We have understood that it signifies the oppressive weight of a marriage and the societal expectations on Aunt Jennifer. How is Aunt Jennifer's life different from her art? So her art and her life, they're totally different. Her life is constrained and timid, while the tigers, her artwork is a representation of boldness, fearlessness, freedom. What does the poem say about the role of women in society? It critiques the patriarchal norms that suppressed women. What is critique? Critique means that you are talking about both the points, the positive and the negative points. So when you say that it critiques the patriarchal norms that is prevalent in the society, suppressing women, it also highlights how art can be used as a medium of expression and left behind as a legacy for the next generation to get inspired. That is what the poem speaks about, the role of the women in the society and how they found escape in different forms of art to express themselves. Next, we have almost come to the end of the presentation, and I think this, if you prepared this much, it will be enough for you. So what is the key takeaway from this poem? Adrienne Rich uses Aunt Jennifer's story to critique societal constraints on women while celebrating the power of art to immortalize strength and resilience. Aunt Jennifer, through her art, expressed something, wanted to express what was there in her mind. She wanted to express the strength, through the strength and resilience of the tigers, something which she yearned for. She also yearned to be just like that. And how did she do it? Through her art. So that is also celebrated through the poem. At the same time, the poet also critiques the societal constraints of on the women. What could be some of the thought-provoking questions or the value-based questions? You could get questions like, how do the struggles of women in Aunt Jennifer's time compare to the challenges faced by women today? So that is something where you have to speak about. You have already understood what kind of life the women of the society lived at a time when this poem was written, the struggles of women in Aunt Jennifer's time, and you have to give references of how the society has changed, how the society has evolved, how people have started supporting feminism, what women are doing. Women have advanced in various fields. They have, initially it began with expression and escape by means of art, but now it is not limited to art only. Women have started participating in everything, anything and everything that men can do. So give reference to 2-3 points in regard to that, and just make a comparison how it has moved towards a positive image in the society, and that is, you will be done. Next, how do the struggles and aspirations of women portrayed in Aunt Jennifer's Tigers compare to the challenges faced by women in contemporary society? A similar question, but there is an additional part to it. Are the tigers still a relevant symbol of courage and freedom? Or could you think of something else to symbolize the same? Like the tigers are symbolized in a similar way, could you think of something else to symbolize what Adrienne Rich symbolized, the power, the strength and power and boldness of tigers? Instead of symbolizing all these things through the tigers, what would you choose to symbolize the same thing? You could think of many things. You could think of an eagle also. You could think of anything anything that symbolizes strength, power. You could think of a moving car, okay, a speeding car. So, but uh, whatever you example you give, you have to give a logic behind it. That is what CBSE wants from you. These value-based questions do not have one right answer. So if you are able to prove yourself with logic, then your answer is right. If you're unable to prove yourself and you're saying something which is very different from others, that is for that also you're going to get marks. But you need to prove yourself with logic. So do that. Please do that. Don't just just state your opinion. Give a reason to your opinion. Okay. For value-based questions, there are various other things which we have to keep in mind. We have to keep in mind the historical context. We have to keep in mind the comparison with modern challenges. Art as a relief, you could get questions on this topic. You could also get questions on legacy of feminist thought. So let us see some of the questions, some of the topics which could come. The poem reflects the struggles of women in patriarchal society during Adrienne Rich's time. How has society changed since then in terms of gender equality? This is a similar question which we discussed. Comparison with modern times, same type of question, but in a different question. Are women today free from societal expectations, or do similar constraints exist in different forms? Like in workplace, or is there any kind of social media pressure? So, of course, there are still some constraints which women go through. You could mention one or two, but we all know that women do not enjoy just as equal rights as men, even though they are participating, they are excelling in all the fields that women are involved in. So you could mention something to prove this point. Okay, art as a relief. Aunt Jennifer uses her art to express her suppressed emotions. Do women today have similar avenues to express themselves? Yes. So this is also a true thing, which women of today are also using various means to express their suppressed emotions. How are they doing it? Art is still prevalent. They are also doing other things. They are also flying planes. They are going to they are visiting the moon. So there would be whatever we do in our life. If we are passionate about it, it comes from some kind of emotion, some kind of suppressed emotion. It is triggered by some kind of emotion. Think of them, why and what the women are doing, what they are doing in the society, what the way they are contributing to the society, and what emotions could be there behind it. Most of the very important emotion which is there behind, I think, all that women are doing. Various women are participating in various activities. This particular thing, that women are still subjugated. They need to take a leap forward. They need to work a bit more than the men to prove themselves. That is the suppressed emotion they could have. So even in today's society, women do not enjoy full freedom. It is a trend that women are considered to be weaker than men. So they have to put in that extra effort. They have to take some measures in order to prove themselves. So this particular emotion could be a reason to trigger them towards performing, trigger them to participate in more and more activities, to express themselves in a wider form. So this is something which you can talk about. You can think of something else also if it comes to your mind. Then there is another question: do women today have similar avenues to express themselves? Yes, there are various avenues through which women are expressing themselves. You can think of any of the avenues, any kind of profession, any kind of artwork or anything. I mean, even if you talk about homemakers, you could think of it as an expression of their power, as an expression of their freedom. So how you represent it, to answer the question, is what matters, and that is what's going to fetch you marks. So you have to keep in mind what the question is asking me. Just whatever you are writing, frame your answer in line with the question that is being asked. Please don't divert. Please keep in mind, give reasons. You are asked for reasons. You are asked to give reasons, so give those reasons. Whatever you write, you think is right, you write that. That's not a problem. Another student might write about something else. So it's not that your answer is wrong. Like I said before also, give reasons and logic to support your answer. Then there could be another question, the legacy of feminist thought. How have feminist movements influenced modern women's roles in society? And are women today more empowered, or are there still battles to fight? So legacy is something which we have seen. It has been left by various women in the past. You talk about Mother Teresa, you talk about Sarojini Naidu, you talk about the most important women figures from Rabindranath Tagore's stories. There are various examples. Even you talk about Kiran Bedi, you talk about any kind of famous women figure. You can name any one of them, any 2-3 people, and you can show how they have influenced the women of the future. Of course, if they had not taken the first step, it would not have been possible for for the women of today's generation to move in the direction where they're moving. So if you see that today's women, today's girls and women are very, very free, they're very bold. Has it come all of a sudden? Is it possible that they can do anything and everything that they want, and they wake up one morning and they start doing anything and everything? It's not possible. There has been a constant evolution of the society, which has been brought in by the contribution of people who lived in the past. They have contributed. They have taken many actions. They have expressed themselves in various ways, which has inspired the future generation. And that is the legacy that they have left behind. And that is how we have been inspired. And that is how we are taking steps to inspire the future generation, our future generation. So that is what you have to write over here. Are women today more empowered? Or are there still battles to fight? Yes, of course, women are very, very empowered. But yes, this is also true that there are many more battles to fight. If you go to rural sectors, you will find women are still subjugated. They have to do a lot to come out of the shackles, bonded life that they live under the rule of the men of the society. So there are a lot of fights that still remain. So write in those lines, give some examples of that. What are the battles that we need to fight? Where do we need to excel more? What are the things that we have still not achieved? And yes, of course, touch the point that we have come a long way. We have been inspired by our earlier generation, and we have come a long way, which we have reached newer heights every day. So that is how you have to handle all these questions, all the types of questions that you are going to get from this poem, especially on value-based questions, will be on these, should be basically related to these 4 topics: the historical context, comparison with modern challenges, art as a relief, and legacy of feminist thought. So if you just go through this PPT once quickly and go back to the poem related with the things that I taught here, I'm sure you will be able to handle any kind of question that comes in your exam. So I really wish that you do really, really well in your exams and prepare hard to secure very good marks in English, because English is one subject, I'm telling you, which is going to help you throughout your life. Please don't ignore it, and especially before the exam, for your final exam, this is one subject which is going to fetch you marks, which is going to add in to your course which is going to help you, compensate for any kind of loss in marks that you might uh, have in other subjects. So please work hard for English. Don't ignore it. And if you like my teaching, if you have gone through the PPT well, if you have understood what I have told you, then please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And also comment. I know you have very less time, but still, then, if you have any kind of doubt, please comment so that I can just check it, and I will be quick to respond back to you. I know your exams are nearing, so I will try to help you with any kind of material that you might need. Thank you so much, and see you again in my next video. Thanks.